Yo, welcome back guys for another episode of the week ahead. So today we'll be talking about SPY. We'll be going over what happened last week, and I'll also talk about my game plan for next week. So let's go over on SPY really quick. So quickly, we're gonna go over the weekly time frame and talk about what type of candle we end up having last week. So on the weekly time frame, you can see the last candle here is a red candle. And something to mention about last week and the previous week is the previous week we have one of the biggest green candle, highest volume, and last week we actually had only 4 days of price action, so it was a short week. So we have a smaller level of volume. So last week about 288.2 million shares have been traded on SPY. And the previous week, we had about 924.5 million shares being traded. Huge volume compared to last week. Last week, we actually started the week green and end up closing red. So if we go deeper on the daily time frame really quick, you will see that we had mainly red candles last week. So again, we only had 4 trading days last week. And you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those are the 4 candles we actually have last week, and they're all red. So we open at the top here and we actually trade to the downside for the whole week. Now, what does it mean? Alright, so if you look at the big candle right here, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles trading inside that big candle. We definitely have to see buyers trying to actually clear that high right here. We need to go back and retest it and try to clear it for more bullish price action. Otherwise, you can clearly see that the selling pressure is still there, even though after opening at the open at this level, we trade to the downside like 3 days in a row. Only red candles for last week. Definitely, we can see that the selling pressure is still there, but how can we trade this price action? I want to be talking about my game plan for next week and the key level I'm watching. But before that, we need to understand that next week is going to be also packed with news. Right? So we'll be dealing with a lot of news on the market. There will be a lot of Fed speaker next week. So you definitely have to be aware of that. So I would recommend to watch your economic calendar to know the different times that the market can see some volatility. So you don't get caught on those random volatility. Before talking about my game plan for next week, I just want to show you guys something. So even though for the past couple of months, we've been pretty much trading to the downside, pretty much strong move to the downside, strong momentum, strong selling pressure, sometimes we need to zoom out to see the price action. How the price action looks like on a bigger time frame. So if you go on the weekly time frame, you can see how I have a nice trend line right here. So this trend line so far has been acting as a nice support. You can see how many bounces we tend to have in that trend line. So 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one actually happened here. So if you look on a bigger time frame, we still definitely in a big uptrend on SPY. Alright, so we're still there. We're still defending that uptrend to the upside, especially after that recent bounce at this level. Show that the uptrend is still alive. And for me to consider this uptrend to be done and over with, I need to see the sellers taking over that trend line and also taking over the 480 level. And the 480 level comes from the 222 all-time high. Alright, this was that level, the key level, and I'm pretty much watching that same key level as a strong support so far. So I need to see the sellers taking over the trend line and also the 480. And only when we actually stay below the 480, then I'll probably be focused way more on the bearish price action of the market. But until then, I consider the market to be worth it to buy the dip and actually recover for a nice uptrend to the upside. And if we look at even on the higher time frame, such as the monthly, you can see how it pretty much flows. That same trend line is still there and strong, or you can see that same bounce, and we are also bouncing as well on the monthly time frame. And if we look at closely on that same monthly time frame, all we having one now is pretty much a break, right, and retest scenario. And so far, if this hold or that zone actually hold, we can actually have a nice bounce right here. So pretty much we have a break right here, and here that's pretty much the retest. Alright, and now if we actually bounce, the retest is successful to the upside, we can actually bounce and go make a new all-time high. So I'm definitely watching for that possible scenario, and that's on the bigger time frame. And you can see for the past 2 months, we pretty much have 2 red candles on the monthly, and we're still in April right now. We'll see if that candle will close red or green, and so far the momentum is to the downside. And for this candle to become green, we'll be to trade well over the 558. So that means for this candle to turn from red to green, SPY need to make more than 32 point move to the upside. We have about 2 weeks left before this month, and we'll see how the market do. Again, it's all about tariff news, and so far it seems like Trump and China trying to work a compromise to make things work. But let's go to the daily time frame and talk about the key level I'm watching. And specifically, so one of the key level I'm watching to the downside is pretty much the 520, that level right here. And I'm also having that high level of that range. So I'm basically watching the market between that range right here, the 520 and the 548.5. So I'm definitely watching for a possible ride back up to the 548.5. I want to see the buyers push a price and retest that high and even reclaim it and go to the upside. But so definitely I'll be watching for buying opportunity around that zone right here. But if we lose the 520, if you do the 520, I'm pretty gonna be focused on the bearish opportunity that the market will give. So for my day trading level, I want to see the price reclaim the 530, and so we can actually have a nice move to the 540 before getting to the 548.5. So if we can reclaim the 530, most likely we can go for a ride to the 540, and then if we can clear the 540, then we can go for the 548. Alright, so after the 530, my first main target will be the 540, and then if you can clear the 540, go for the 548. My main target for this week, if we have a strong bullish price action, is definitely the 560. And from where we are right now, it's about almost about 6% move, which is a huge move. Alright, and that can only happen if we have a major narrative change in the market, such as, a good outcome coming from a negotiation between China and the US regarding tariffs. So if we have a good deal between those two nations, then we can actually have a strong move to the upside and see strong buying pressure to actually happen. Remember, when actually Trump announced a possible tariff pose, we had that type of the move right here. So we know that the market is ready to buy the dip, which we need to have a reason to do so, because if you look at where we came from, we actually have a strong selling pressure, and from where we came from all the way up here to here, it's about 14% move to the downside. All right, we went all the way down here, was about almost like 20% move, which is the bear market territory, and we left that zone pretty heavily, really fast. So we're not in the bear market territory anymore. So now the buyers have to actually push the price higher so we don't come back down here. So next week, make sure to actually watch those levels. Definitely above the 530, you want to see a move all the way to the 540. And we want to see the 520 right here hold, because if we lose the 520 here, all right, we have a good chance to go all the way down to the 510 level. We have enough room for that. But yeah, that's all I have for SPY. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'll be sending more educational videos on their way. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on your notification, and see you on the next video.